In property investing or in any kind of analysis, data analysis, triangulation is key because you need to look at something, an area, from multiple data points, from multiple angles to create a story about it and to develop an insight about that area, an insight upon which you're going to act. Do today for tomorrow. That's an important aspect. If you can do something now, you do it now. You don't wait for it.
Welcome to Property Banter by Pinnacle Buyers Agents, powered by HTag Analytics. Today we have Dr. Matt back for part 2. We hope you enjoy. Please like, subscribe, share this with a friend. Let's go.
This is why we created Dex essentially. So
talk to us, and for everyone at home watching this, you know, obviously we use and love HTag, but explain to everyone who might already be familiar with HTag as a data platform, but now you have rolled out Dex. Explain to everyone what Dex is.
So yeah, thanks. So Dex, so HTag in general is built on this premise of triangulation, trying to let the information in front of you speak and you putting your emotions on the shelf at the back. So you essentially not being driven by bias, but trying to find value in what the data says in front of you, you know? And now data can be deceiving in a sense that you need a lot of data points, a lot of different angles. This is what triangulation is about. And triangulation doesn't just mean a trifactor in a sense that you look at three things because of the triangle. Triangulation is a notion in academia that's been developed in research, essentially in research, both qualitative and quantitative. If you want to do a PhD thesis or if you want to write anything that's of value, you need to triangulate your position, i.e. you need to look at your position from many different angles to bring it down to earth. It will be pros and cons, essentially, assessment, you know, but from many different angles and arguments and many different viewpoints in order to come to a conclusion that adds or contributes to the body of knowledge, to produce something new. So in property investing or in any kind of analysis whatsoever, data analysis, triangulation is key because you need to look at something, i.e. an area, from multiple data points, from multiple angles to create a story about it and to develop an insight about that area, an insight upon which you're going to act. So when it comes to going back to data can be deceiving if you don't use enough data points. When people make a decision, let's say you and I made a decision to invest in an area purely because it's 700K in typical value. We came to a conclusion the 700K typical value areas have the potential to grow more, double in value more than other price points. And because we came to that conclusion, we go on our platform, we search for 700K and we go, boom, pick the first one. No, you can't make that decision from the price point alone. And you can't make that decision from 2 data elements. Even 3 is something. You need to increase the volume of data elements to produce a robust triangulation exercise. So this is why HTag in and of itself, we're always trying to add metrics. And now I do understand that it can be confusing to people because the more you add doesn't mean, I said yesterday in the masterclass, less is not more. Now, a lot is not more as well. So just adding metrics for the sake of adding metrics can also be debilitating and confusing, you know. However, when you have a lot to choose from, let's say you go to Coles and you look at the candy bar section, which you don't go to anymore, you can pick Snickers, you can pick Twix, whatever your poison is, you know. You're not going to pick all of them at once, but at least you have a lot of options from which you're going to make a decision. Now, it's the same with data points. I think it's critical to analyze at least 20 data points when you're analyzing an area, at least 20, but you don't have to go to 105 that we have. I usually go to 105, and this now comes back to Dex. Now, you can either choose to analyze areas from 20 data points as a minimum, or you can choose to analyze areas from 105 data points as a minimum. But now, next question that you have to ask yourself, is every data point as significant as the other? Is every data point, do all of them have the same weighting? And the answer is no. And this is why we have a problem with some of the courses out there that assign the same significance and the same value to all of the data points. And when you do that, you cancel all of them out.
No, you're right. So the data points that they're assigning way too much value to data points that...
No. So there's two things. So either people assign way too much value to one data point, i.e. the vacant land argument, Or what they do is they compare areas across 20 data points and they assign the same value and equal value to all. And when you assign equal and the same value to all, you get an average result because they cancel each other out. And what you're doing there is you're increasing the opportunity cost. And what is opportunity cost? Opportunity cost is the cost of investing in an asset that's going to perform average, i.e., that's not going to perform as good as other options, which means that your portfolio building process gets extended from 10 years to 15 or 20. So see how this is what people need to understand. Now, coming back to DEX, if you decide to compare areas across more than 20 data points, 30, 40, 50, or 105 that we have, you have to think clearly and deeply about the significance of each metric in what you're trying to achieve. And the significance is actually driven by correlation. So, for example, what are the data points that correlate to growth the most? They're supply and demand dynamics, because price growth is a simple equation: reducing supply, increasing demand, which means that in a level of hierarchy, level 1 metrics will be supply and demand metrics. Now, further to that, to add an insult to injury, you have to also think about the time frame of metrics. So not all metrics have the same time frames. So for example, supply and demand metrics, if they have 4 or 5 year trends, their time frame will be short to midterm. You can't discern how an area is going to behave from a trend that's 2 year long. You can't discern how it's going to behave 8 years into the future. Yeah. So this is why metrics have, not only do they have a hierarchy and a significance, but they also have a temporal aspect, i.e. a time frame associated with those metrics. And this is what DEX enables. DEX enables you to compare 1,000 suburbs across 105 metrics in an extremely nuanced way for your brief. And that's why it's groundbreaking. That's why DEX gets rid of opportunity cost. It doesn't exist anymore. This is the beauty of it. And how does it get rid of the opportunity cost? Well, simply because you go through a process of assigning significance to metrics on the basis of what you're trying to achieve, your brief. So you're maximizing the probability of achieving that outcome. And you're also assigning the time frame aspect to it. I need to extract equity in the next 2 years, but I also need to extract equity the second time in the next 12 from compounding. So that's what DEX does. And that's why it doesn't exist anywhere else. And that's why I call it groundbreaking, which it truly is. Because people up to now haven't cracked this problem of different significance of metrics and different temporal aspects of metrics.
100%. So now, listen, I think, is this like a weekly thing where you guys just invent something that no one else in the world has? Because, we've all got to keep up with this. And it's, I don't know how you guys design stuff and release new stuff every week. There's always an update. There's always things happening over at HTag. It's amazing. How are you guys doing this so often?
Yeah, man. You know what? I'm lucky to be in business with people who are really smart, No, Alex is a gunman,
No, of course.
I'm not talking about me.
No, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the others. Yeah. I'm glad you recognize.
I'm lucky to be, and it's simple as that, I'm lucky to be in business with people that are extremely intelligent, that do not leave what they can do today for tomorrow. That's an important aspect. If you can do something now, you do it now. You don't wait for it. Most of us are essentially obsessed. And with us, it's not about the economic gain. It's more about solving those problems. It's the splinter in your mind where you realize from the community that there is a problem that needs to be solved, and you need to solve it for the community. You can't really say to your community, yeah, it's coming, or, yeah, we'll do this. You need to really constantly improve your service. Now, how do we do it fast? You know what? I don't know. I mean, we're a very lean organization in the sense that we have 3 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees. So we're very lean, and we want to keep it that way. And that's why we picked the SaaS as an organization to work under or to develop. So it becomes hard. It becomes difficult to manage customer service requests, to manage a community, and at the same time to improve and evolve the platform. It becomes difficult, but somehow it just happens, man.
Mate, what we're doing in the mastermind and how good that group is for us all is it's amazing. I mean, everyone's getting a lot out of it. Even me just now had the shits that I could see. I'm like waiting for you to jump on this thing, and I could see you responding online, it's you're always responding, and I think everyone's getting a lot out of it, and we're all super happy with how it's going so far.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, the beauty of the mastermind as well, is that you're constantly customer facing, and you understand their pulse. You have your hand on their pulse in the sense that you know what they need and what they want, and that's a feedback loop that gets fed back into the metrics and into everything else. And then in the background we've recently we have a new advisor on board. I can't disclose his name, who is an AI expert. And when I say an expert in a sense that he can build new AI modules that don't have to leverage ChatGPT or anything else. So now that's another aspect that we're working on. So he will build this AI experience on the platform where you're going to be able to communicate with the platform as you're using it. And it's going to be able to give you answer when it comes to your portfolios, to your strategies, to the connection of metrics, it's going to be crazy, man. So it's going to really, really improve the user experience and help individuals to not only use the platform to make a decision, but also get educated at the same time. Now, this individual like Alex, they're insane, bro. That's the end of the game. Like they just don't stop.
They're not normal humans, no.
Yeah, like they sit down, they grab something, and they work on it for. I'll give you an example. That this individual, it's an interesting story, and how I came across him. So we became friends recently. We just connected, have the same energy, have the same views, have the same levels of lucidness. So if I can say that, I don't even know if that's a word, but anyway, I just I wung it. I don't even know if that's a word. And we started chatting. And anyway, he came over. He's from another state. He said, Matt, listen, I just want to have a break from my work and all of that. I come over. We hang out at your house, spend the weekend, whatever. We do things. I go, Matt, come, it doesn't matter. He came. And I was working on HTag, on the weekend. I was answering questions and all of that. He came upstairs. Now, you've been in my house. So he came upstairs where my workstation is. And he's like, what are you working on, And I said, no, I'm just, this was like an older iteration of HTag. I'm just working on something. I go, and I was, what is it? Can you tell me more about it? What do you want to see? What's the features that you guys are working on? What do you want, Mate, I didn't even, and he asked me about these intricate questions. What is the back end? Is it developer? What is all of these? I go, man, I don't know. Like, you have to ask Alex. I have no clue. So I haven't given him any foundation at all about the platform itself, but I did mention some of the features and some of the metrics that we'd like to introduce. Anyway, Monday comes. He goes to work. So Monday, he left my house at 8:30 or 9. At 11 a.m., he sends Alex and I complete code for one of great features we wanted to introduce. Now, let me put this in perspective. So he said, gents, this is from me to you, free of charge, use it. And to put it in perspective, Alex, who is a coder, says that it would take 2 weeks for something like this to be built. The guy built it in 2 hours, allowing for traffic to his work, yeah? Like, that's why I said 2 hours. Like, mate, that's insane.
Well, that's why we're all shocked at how quickly you guys are constantly releasing, updating, changing the platform. I mean, we're migrating over from Telegram now, the mastermind as well. Like,
have you had a peek around in Circle?
I had it looks amazing. So the way in which it's constantly evolving, like you can't even keep up with it as a consumer in a good way, like it's always innovating, and it's from a buyer's agent standpoint, it's a game changer. So
yeah, no, thanks a lot, man. And you just said that something like there's a problem as well with constantly introducing things because you have to then educate the community on how to use it. So there's like, But
you guys have that new platform. We've moved over from Telegram, and we'll keep it like that.
Yeah,
for a while. Please.
Yeah, man, it's pretty cool. I really like it, and I really appreciate you always saying the good things about us and promoting us and all of that. So
well, we use the platform. So
tell me where you're buying. Tell me where you're buying that.
Oh, you want the secrets of where we're buying? Well, they're not secrets for you because you already know.
No. Listen, man. Listen, I want to know because I might not be looking at things in the right way.
I will. Well, it's interesting.
Give us one. You
and I come from we're from two different paths, two totally different journeys in the real estate game. And I wasn't blessed to have HTag when I started my portfolio and my journey, as many other Australians were. And you'd have to, You'd have to read Property Investor magazine or whatever it was back.
Yeah, I was doing the same. Yeah, I remember.
It just was what it was, and there was no internet gurus. So the way in which it worked back then was you just had to kind of feel it out, get to know. I would do things like, instead of like now we have data on the screen, which you guys update monthly. Is that right?
Yeah, monthly. Yeah.
And we have that updated monthly. Whereas I would actually walk into the office. So I'd walk into Ray White Campbelltown and I'd say to Ingleburn, I'd say, Daniel, what's going on? I'm like, what's your phone inquiry like in January? How many inquiries did you have? He's like, oh, we had this many. And then in Feb, I'm like, how many did you have? And he's like, oh, we had 700. And then I would actually get up to date on the ground.
I just thought about a metric, phone inquiry. I wrote it down.
Write it down. And I'll tell you another way. I'll reveal how I sort of keep my finger on the pulse as someone who learned just on the street, right? So I will talk to agents. So for a lot of my clients prior to HTag, prior to me joining HTag, was I'd ask agents what their inquiry rate was like on particular properties. So the old 1-bedroom unit or 2-bedroom unit on the Gold Coast is something that we'd never buy. Right, it's just full of supply. Like it just takes more developer approvals, and bang, they go up, and it stunts growth. Right, and anyone that's ever looked into it knows that people that bought the Q1 in 2002 for $1 million sold it 15 years later for $1 million as well. Right, because it doesn't grow. You basically just bought air rights. Right, so. The way not land, you bought air rights. So I talk to the agents on the ground, and I'm like, "Yo, so and so." I'm like, how many inquiries you got? He's like, man, I got 100 inquiries in the first 24 hours on this 1-bedroom unit. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, where are they from? He's like, oh, they're all from Melbourne. They're all moving up. I'm like, what are they saying? They're saying this, this, and that. And the agent will give me the feedback on what's going on. And I already know I can jump into that for 250. And I've got clients now that have them at 400,000. They've made 150,000 in the last 18 months, right? But it's a very low entry price point.
So they were willing to actually divulge that information. I mean, it's extra work for them.
No. Here's what you got to understand. There's an advantage to being a buyer's agent. It doesn't happen. I was just talking to Sophie earlier about it. I get answers from agents that you wouldn't normally get. I'm waiting on a deal this morning to come through, two actually in this particular region of Victoria. And the agent told me, he's like, we got a $400,000 offer subject to the sale of a property, and we got a $405,000 cash unconditional offer. And I said, does that mean that they're waiving building and pest? He goes, yes, it's just cash unconditional. Cool. So we've come in higher, and I know, for my clients where to come in. I've also spoken to someone. I've said, listen, the agent, put in a good word for us. Tell them we're going to be flexible on the settlement. So if the owner needs time moving out, et cetera, I've structured the deal in a way where we have an advantage. I don't get information the way general people get information. I get advantageous information. And if I don't, I know how to ask questions around to still get that answer. So a lot of times agents they won't tell me. They go, oh, I can't. I go, what'd you sell it for? And they're like, oh, I can't tell you what I sold it for. I can't tell you what it went under contract for because it's still under contract. I'd have other ways of asking. I'd re-ask the question in other ways. And I would have, an estimate. Oh, cool. I know that would be somewhere between, 510 and 520, right? That's roughly what they got. And you can re-ask if you know how to do it. I've been doing this for so long that this is second nature. So going back to, how I get these deals, like on the Gold Coast with this particular agent, like I literally call him up. I say, hey, I need a deal. I've got a VIP client. I want to sell. I want a $600,000 property. I need 50K equity, right? I need this. I need that. That's how I talk. It's just blatant. It's straight to the point.
Yes, it's a relationship that you've built throughout the years. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, if I don't know an agent, I don't call them and say, "Oh,
yeah, absolutely." See what you
yeah. Right.
Maybe it works. Who knows? But see what interesting that you said about Melbourne areas or Melbourne area. That's an indication that the market is heating up. The fact that they're setting unconditional waiving pest and building. Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, that's something that's a great offer though, and yes, it is in the lower price point because we don't see cash on conditionals in the 800s and 900s and whatever 700, but 400K cash is still a good one because there's not a large percentage of people with cash unconditional offers, and someone coming in and willing to waive the building and pest. Okay, granted, it's a 15-year-old house. There'd be minimal things wrong with it. They could have been at the inspection on the weekend.
Did they tell you how many offers they received?
Yeah. They got 2 offers on this one. But I think he's waiting for more to come in. So I'm hoping they're closing it this morning. So fingers crossed. I got two on the way this morning in that same area. But yeah, I think gathering information from the agent is the old school way in which we used to do things, because there was no hashtag around. You'd have to, what's your inquiry rate like? How many people attended the open? How many offers do you have?
Yeah, surely agency now, I'm thinking about it, absolutely. Surely agents have a CRM system of some sort or something.
They do. There's another way, and you'd ask them, so what's going on? And I remember sitting there, and I said in 2013, I said Daniel, shout out to Daniel if you're watching, but I said, Daniel, we got a property boom here, mate, based on his last 3 months, because it was consecutive months. And I sort of said, hey, we're in a property boom. It's all happening.
As in Melbourne?
No. And yeah, back in 2013 in Sydney, he goes, no. I said, yeah, we do. And that's what I based it on. I based it on just on the ground feel. And what'd you have? The back of the magazine, really, back in the day, and which is so basic and minimal and doesn't really give you an idea of what's truly going on in the space, right? So if you just open the back of Australian, what was it, API or whatever, you just open that back and you got some data there, that gives you no understanding of where each of those.
It's just a snapshot.
It's a snapshot, and it gives you nothing. So being on the ground is the best thing. So in Brisbane, talking to agents right now, in particular areas, talking about how they can't list stock. These are agents that have, just under 2 million GCI going, I can't find a listing. Yet here we are, interest rate cuts are around the corner. They can't find listings, and we're as busy as ever, right? Well, we've never been busier. Other buyers agents are super busy as well. It goes to show where the market's heading, and it's just seeing it on the ground, just having your finger on the pulse day in, day out. We know what's happening.
This is what I always say when people say, some people have concerns, okay, when HTag develops or PropTech platform develops, will that phase out the buyer's agents? And this is that question inadvertently tells me that they don't understand how much is required to do on the ground to actually get this information. And when you combine the two, it's very powerful and it cuts your research time phenomenally, but you can't have one without the other. You still need to work on simply what you said, knowing how to ask questions and what questions to ask. I have no clue how to do that. You know what I mean?
There's a psychology around speaking to an agent. This is what comes. Obviously, I'd rate myself as a very good negotiator. I'm one of the best. See, here's the thing with buyer's agents. Good buyer's agents, right? There's plenty of bad ones as well, but we negotiate the negotiators. So real estate agents are considered the best negotiators in the country. They negotiate the general public. I negotiate the negotiators. That's the difference.
So imagine the level of astuteness you need to build to actually, yeah.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I got screwed over a few times at the start.
No, well, absolutely. But that's how you learn.
Pick up on it all,
That's how you learn. But see, asking those questions, I think that's knowing how to ask questions. That really struck me there. I think that's invaluable, and it requires years and years of trying to read between the lines, essentially, and knowing how to ask the questions without being rebuffed and say, "Hey, mate, leave me alone." You're.
There's ways, but also I know how to decipher which agents I need to speak to, Matija. So, for example, if I make a call to someone within 10, 15, 20 seconds, I already know whether I can do business with them or not. I literally won't waste my time with them. The way the agent's going to handle the deal, I'll find out all the details straight away, and I will immediately exclude that agent from negotiations, because I know that agent is really, really, really working for the vendor, and they're going to make life difficult for me and us getting the best deal possible. So it's knowing how to play it. And then also there's agents that are time wasters. That if a deal's been sitting on the market for 6 months, you call them, and based on how they speak to you, you instantly know there's a reason why that deal's on the market for so long. And I've had friends that go, hey, I want to buy this. And I'm like, listen, don't waste your time. They waste their time, and they just end up being,
so much learning there. I think you should do a course, man. Educate the people.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. But another thing is, a buyer's agent can't be replaced by HTag, because, like, let's say, okay, you look at HTag and you want to go buy a deal. I can literally make a call now and find a deal 50 grand on the market value. You can't. That's based on a contact. I know the liquidators, the wholesalers, and I know who supplies the deals. And over the years, I've come into contact with them across parts. So these are the things that aren't generally available, and it's understanding.
No, absolutely.
But combined, when you understand asset selection and you understand
market momentum as well, yeah.
market momentum, you understand the game of portfolio building, and then you use HTag. Like now, people today starting out in property investment don't understand they actually have it way easier. We have a huge debasement of currency that we didn't have as much back in the day. I remember buying my property in Sydney and waiting like 8 years for it to move even a little bit, right? We didn't have that. And, we weren't investing interstate because we were all investing locally. We were buying principal places of residences as opposed to rent investing. Now you've got the data, you've got the debasement of currency, you've got shortage of supply of homes. You literally have you have a ripe market for growth, and you have the data pointing you in the right direction. Today, what we have with the internet and the data platform that you've created, it's amazing for anyone looking to create wealth.
When you really, I completely agree. When you really think about it, I think it's becoming easier for buyers agents to operate. But then that inadvertently places an even higher importance on the ground activity, because now you're competing with more buyers agents. All of the buyers agents have access to PropTech platforms, which means that their research times for a suburb is cut in half or even more, which means that in order for them to participate in the market and to get those homes and do the right asset selection, it places an even higher importance for them to know how to negotiate, how to speak to agents and create those relationships. So essentially, PropTech platforms and HTag increase or what would I say? Like make it even more important for you to develop this on the ground skill set.
100%, because you are now, if you're an investor and you're not going to use a buyer's agent, understand that the buyer's agents will be using the PropTech. The buyer's agents will come out against you. And as an agent, understand the psychology of an agent now. You're an agent, okay, and you've got a listing and you got two offers. One from someone who could have fear of the deal. This would be their first investment property and they might buy it, put it under contract, then it might fall over under pest and build. They might get scared, they might back out. Whereas, the other offer would be from a buyer's agent. The client's pre-approved already. Okay, so they're qualified. They've signed up with a buyer's agent, which shows they're serious. The buyer's agent, if they're really, really good, the agent will pick up on that vibe immediately because you ooze confidence and you know how to speak. You know exactly what to tell them so that they understand. And when I get on the phone and talk to an agent, they straight away know that I'm in the game. They're immediately comfortable, and that's why I get the information that they don't generally give out, or legally they're supposed to give out, right? With a lot of them. So which offer is the real estate agent going to accept? The one that could potentially fall over because someone gets scared or someone is worried that, it's a leaking shower. Oh my God, that's the end of the world. I'm going to cancel this contract and I'm not buying this house. Or they go with the buyer's agent who understands that, hey, it's going to cost $1,000. Let's negotiate that. Let's work that out. Let's move forward. Deal done. They'll always go with the buyer's agent. So now all of a sudden you're dealing with buyer's agents. Now the buyer's agents are all competing with each other, all in areas like
exactly.
Yeah. The game's changing. It's cool.
I'm actually interested. I'm really, really excited about what's going to come in the next couple of years. We've got to wrap it up. I'm really excited what's going to come in the next couple of years. I think the industry is moving, and I think even the way property is bought and sold is going to change. It's probably going to be traded more, if you want to use that term, as opposed
traded more. What do you mean traded more?
I think the short-term timeframes will have a larger appeal. Sorry, wouldn't have a larger appeal, but they would increase in importance. I think the purely just relying on the compounding game is not enough anymore. So I think the actual timing of an entry, we discussed this before, it's going to become much more important as well. And when you enter in a particular cycle, which means that if you're timing it, you're sort of trading it in a sense, because you're timing entries in crypto, in shares.
It's an interesting one. Yeah, you're looking at it from the lens, from the perspective of, it's like trading. The way you trade shit.
As soon as you introduce an element of timing, you are considering it more as a trade. It's not simply now. I was always a fan of set and forget and never sell your assets, simply because they allow you to extract equity all the time, and I still am. But what is more important now, or equally important, is understanding when to actually enter a market to maximize your average returns.
It's an interesting one. I've timed the market beautifully, time and time again. I'm very, very good at it. And I look back and I wish I never sold any of those properties that I timed perfectly. And at the time, I was like, yep, I timed this to like the week, just about the week, right? Exited right at the top and then it just drops off. And I'm like, yep, I'm very good. Pat on the back. I'm good at what I do. And then in the end, that market goes again and it goes again and it goes again. And then
well, yeah, that's why you have that dual aspect. You have like the timing the market and the compounding. But sometimes, in your strategy, you have to consolidate, which is fine to sell off. But yeah, I mean, I think considering both aspects there, both the short-term and mid-term return as well as the long-term return, is very important because it increases your compounding average, and it also allows you to extract equity into different purchases and build your portfolio. And when you extract equity the first time in the short-term time frame, you're not worried that asset is going to turn into a liability, it's going to become a weight around your neck,
Yep, 100%. So in summary, actually, do you have a HTag? Well, you guys have price rises non-stop, right? You guys are super...
Well, like this year we've been increasing our pricing simply because it was just undervalued for the service we were providing. So there's a price increase coming on the 3rd of December. And I think
so if anyone looking to get in before the, what was it, 3rd of December?
3rd of December, yeah.
So if anyone looking to get in, jump onto HTag.
HTag.com.au. You'll be given like a screen. You'll see pricing. You click on that. It takes you to different plans. And you can just click on join now and follow the prompts. But yeah, thanks for that reminder.
And once they join, they get access to the mastermind?
Yes, they now automatically, before it was managed separately on Telegram, now they automatically get an email from Circle email. They click on that and just follow the prompts. You've done it, and it's easy. And now it's automatic cancellations as well. Like before, if people are subscribing on month-to-month basis, if they continue being subscribed, they will need to issue codes every month for them to access Telegram. Now it's not like that. They remain in the mastermind until they're cancelled. When they get cancelled, they sort of lose access to mastermind. So it's managed.
And as soon as they join, they've got access to all the videos as well?
Everything. So they get access to a mini course format where you go through the motions to actually understand our methodology. We have a few quizzes as well that it's very important for you to complete so you understand you have that right foundation. Once you have the right foundation, then you start playing and researching yourself. You post your results and then I deep dive and provide your feedback. We have a lot of theoretical articles written there, additional instructional videos, and those who are professional subscribers, buyers, agents, that get access to Mastermind, and that's sort of tailored coaching that I provide. For investors, only those who are really serious about building the knowledge base and who are under the semi-annual subscription, they get access to the tailored coaching. The month-to-month subscribers under the investor plan get just access to the instructional videos. That's it.
Yeah. Mate, fantastic. I really appreciate you joining us today, and we're going to have you back in the new year as well. Thank you, Matija.
Thanks for inviting me, Michael. Really pleasure. We'll chat soon, and yeah, I look forward to seeing you next year.
Done.
To sit down.
We've had a cracking year this year. It's been an amazing year.
It has. I think next one is going to be even crazier, I think, for all of us.
It is. It is, mate. It is. Looking forward to it, buddy.
All right. Me too, man. Champion. Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Property Banter with Dr. Matt from HTag. We hope you've enjoyed watching this. Please like, subscribe, and share this with a friend. We appreciate you, and we will catch you next time. Take care.